Good morning, everyone. It's July 5th, 2020. Merrick. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all well. So, what I'm going to say in this video is going to be really unpopular among die-hard type patriots. But at the same time, it will also be unpopular to the BLM and Antifa types, right along with the diehard patriots. So, a lot of you have been seeing the news about an outrage about these statues being destroyed and in some cases thrown into a river or a body of water of some kind. I don't recall what river it was, but nonetheless, a body of water of some kind. And here's the thing about that. We're talking about Christopher Columbus, right? This dude was following the orders of royalty. He was doing what he was told to do, and in his through his actions, he did a lot of terrible things. See, I made a video a while back talking about how we, as a society, glorify the most psychopathic, sociopathic people we can. And this is yet another case of that. Christopher Columbus was not a good man. And nothing should be made in his image. Nothing. He's getting credit for finding the New World, but the Vikings found it long before Christopher Columbus did, among other races or cultures. So, and then we can go on to talk about Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. And this is what's going to really piss the patriots off. George Washington, he was a slave owner. He was a hypocrite. He knew slavery was wrong, or is wrong. He knew that. And yet, he held slaves. And I don't care what color the slaves are. They could have been African slaves. They could have been Irish, Chinese. Does not matter the color of the slave. What matters is the slavery itself. George Washington was a fucking hypocrite. And he too did horrific things to people in the name of something it doesn't seem that he actually believed in. Because if he truly believed that all men were created equal and should be free, he would have never held slaves in the first place. Let's go on to Abraham Lincoln. It seems a lot of people are pointing out that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. Why are they destroying this statue? Well, here's the thing. Abraham Lincoln did not free the slaves. Abraham Lincoln basically created a whole new system of slavery. Everyone is a slave now. Well, everyone who's working class middle class, and even up into the millionaire people. But beyond that, beyond those people, the ruling class, they're not the slaves. We are. So, I don't take issue with these statues being destroyed. Matter of fact, we're not supposed to be making images of other men or even God. It's called idolatry. And this is one of the reasons why I take issue with wearing a face mask. It's because they're literally defacing the image of God, specifically the face. And I think that's what the deal is. That's the intent. The intent is to dehumanize each other. The face, that's what everyone looks at while you're speaking. Arguably, the most important part of communication. So I don't take issue with these statues being destroyed, because the people who have these statues, they're all tyrants of some kind or another. When, as a society, do we stop glorifying those who commit evil? And people will say, well, Eric, that was the common practice of the day. Look, man, right is right, wrong is wrong, and it is that fucking black and white. And George Washington had to have all kinds of cognitive dissonance going on within him. Had to. And for the Antifa people, the BLM people, let me tell you, you weak-ass people seem to have a knack for choosing targets you know can't hit back or won't hit back. Targets like defenseless people and statues. Like Bruce Lee said, boards don't hit back. They don't hit back. So it makes them an awfully easy target, doesn't it? And then you have this whole movement now to deface Mount Rushmore. Again, 3 or 4 faces of tyrants. And by the way, those faces were put up over a Native American sacred site called the Three Grandfathers. Makes us pretty big assholes for doing that, or those people back then, doesn't it? Pretty big assholes. So, and then we have the retards, the ones saying, yay, Trump 2020, or Biden 2020. These retards. Like Florida Marquis and, oh fuck, man. The list goes on and on and on and on. If you're still talking about voting, your fucking ass isn't awake. You might as well be fully asleep. Because your childlike mindset is going to do nothing but get in the way of true progress. So there's that point. And by the way, you American people, you have the choice literally between two fucking pedophiles. Pedophile A, pedophile B. Pedophile Trump, pedophile Biden. And with all their other buddy pedophiles surrounding them. So what you got to say about that? And we have a lot of problems coming our way. A whole lot. It seems that there's been a pattern throughout history. And the pattern is this. They telegraphed for a period of time, they being the ruling class, their intentions. They embed their intentions in pop culture, news articles, scientific studies. You know, like Bill Gates had been warning about a pandemic for, the last decade? And really ramped up these warnings in the last few years, right? And then what happens? They hold Event 201 and the lockstep simulation, I guess. And then next thing you know, we're all locked down because of the pandemic, right? Well, there's something else that they've been warning about for quite some time now as well. Different person, but still, or people rather, but still. And it's been embedded in movies, among other things, TV shows. A whole series based on it, actually. And that is the idea of an electromagnetic pulse. And we see the pre-programming currently going on regarding China's ability to do such a thing. So how long is it going to be until that happens? Until we lose our power? I would guess, just a guess here, that it will happen at the worst possible time for the people. When would that be? Well, if you're up north, it'd be the dead of winter, wouldn't it? Or it could be summer. Don't get me wrong. People can possibly, or let me rephrase that. People die every year because they don't have an air conditioner or climate control of some kind, and they succumb to the heat, like in Chicago and these cities where you're surrounded by all this fucking concrete that heats up and heats up and heats up. No wonder it's so fucking hot. So, the worst time possible. And they've been talking about this for, the last decade as well. They've run war games and simulations regarding this. So probably, if I had to guess, that is their intention. And it will be celebrated because of our carbon footprint. After everyone's dead. Well, a lot of people are dead anyway. So, and I have a challenge for you. This is my last thing before we get on to the articles here. I have a challenge for you. Take a headband and put a magnet in it. And put it right here around your head with the magnet right here. Do it for half an hour. And then repeat doing that. Tell me what happens. And that's a challenge. Alright. So, yesterday, millions of people across this here, United States, went out and to barbecues and cookouts or whatever you want to call it, at parties, beaches, water amusement parks, and so on and so forth, to celebrate their independence. This, while there are states across this country who are forcing people to wear fucking oxygen-depriving masks. Independence, right? So, this is not where we want to be here. Right here. Right. And we also have the Fox News and conservatives, right-wingers, praising the heroes that are our law enforcement officers. Pretty Orwellian, actually. On the same day cops killed George Floyd, 5 other people were killed by police. Isn't that interesting? But where's the riots and protests with regard to these individuals? I'm going to let the Free Thought Project fully load here because otherwise I'll be dragging this damn thing along with me. Alright, there we go. A video showing the murder of George Floyd sparked protests around the world, but the movement that he inspired is far bigger than just one person. What happened to Floyd isn't unusual. It happens every day throughout the United States, and the majority of the time, police are able to get by without any criticism because they are able to control a large portion of the evidence, and their testimony is given far more weight than the citizens they interact with. So if you're a cop, you're going to be believed no matter what the fucking evidence is. You could be caught on video a lot of times and still have the charges thrown out or not even brought up at all. And by the way, it does not matter the color of the cop that does these things. They get away with it. So much for that fucking idiotic notion of white privilege. I will be gunned down just the same as any black man. So, even in cases, well, I just touched upon that, the police and the media will also work together to slander victims of police violence and assassinate their character, since the public will typically show less sympathy for imperfect victims. Their pasts are dug up, plastered all over the media, and the damage is done. The scale of the police problem in the United States is nearly impossible for media to capture because there are just too many stories to keep up with, even for organizations like the Free Thought Project, which focus almost exclusively on police state content. The countless videos and eyewitness accounts of police brutality that come in every day is overwhelming. On the day George Floyd was murdered, there were at least 5 other people shot and killed by police. So, this is the norm for them, not the exception. Quit pretending Tucker Carlson, Greg Gutfeld, or I call him Greg Gutless, and the rest of them. Quit pretending like these fucking dudes are heroes, because they're not. Are there some of them that go to work and do a decent job? For example, a detective. Maybe there are. But those few good instances are far outweighed by the evil done by the people we call heroes, the law enforcement apparatus. Their cases didn't make news because those cases didn't have as much evidence or were otherwise not as easy for activists to gather support for. In Houston, Joe Louis Castellanos, a veteran with mental illness, was shot and killed for not responding to an officer's commands fast enough. In a town just outside of Houston, the very same day, a man named Justin Mink was shot after pulling a knife on officers during a traffic stop for a fake tag on his car. In Phoenix, Arizona, Dion Johnson was shot and killed during a traffic stop where he was asleep at the wheel with beer cans in his car. The officers claim that Dion reached for his gun, but the family does not believe his version of events. In Jonesboro, Tennessee, Gary Pat Dorton, a man with mental illness, was shot and killed by police during another incident where there's no video evidence, just the officer's testimony to go by. Police in Modesto, California, claim that they were provoked into shooting Ramar Gargarin as he intended to commit suicide by cop, but the body cam footage does not show him being antagonistic towards the officers. All of these incidents took place on the very same day George Floyd was killed. So, this happens on, again, a daily basis. And the media, specifically right-wing media, will get up there and tout these individuals as being the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. Incentivize murder after cops or after killing unarmed 17-year-old boy on video. Cop got $70,000 payment. But why don't the likes of Tim Cast, Red Elephant, and numerous other individuals acknowledge this problem? And keep in mind, it's a pretty big problem. I mean, these people do have the authority, the fake authority of state behind them. So I'd say that this is a bigger problem than the perceived problem of crime. I say perceived because a lot of the things people are locked up for, most of them actually, are related to illegal guns or drugs. If it were a rape, a child molester, murder, home invader, if it were any of those individuals would deserve exactly what they got and then some. But we're not talking about crimes with victims, which really can't be called a crime because there's no victim. And they arbitrarily call it a crime. So the problem of these fucking authoritarians is much greater than that of the people in prison. People in prison don't have the power of the state behind them. They're a good number of them are victims of the state. And by now, most of you have heard that this cunt has been arrested, a friend of billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, who they claim is dead. Do you believe that? I don't. I don't believe it. And I think probably something very similar is going to happen with this woman. Can't have her naming names, like Donald Trump. I mean, God, what would people do? Oh, I know what they would do. They would just ignore it and vote for the motherfucker anyway. Like they're going to do with Biden. Right? And I'm sure you've heard the details of her arrest, so there's no need to go into it. I just wanted to point out that I doubt that Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and I think something similar will end up happening with her. Ghislaine Maxwell. So there's that one. Cop claims releasing this video was illegal. It shows them execute unarmed man in 11 seconds. Isn't that Isn't that just the nicest thing? 11 seconds. 11 seconds. Happened in Florida. For years, the Pasco Sheriff's Office stood by the results of their investigation, which cleared the officers who killed Jerry Dwight Brown, an unarmed man who was gunned down by police at his workplace. However, a newly leaked video shows that cops executed Brown, 41, in only 11 seconds, giving him almost no time to react to any commands. The shooting took place in 2014, and police were almost immediately ruled justified in their actions. According to police officers, officers demanded Brown show them his hands multiple times, but Brown didn't comply. 11 seconds. Okay? 11 seconds. And they go on to justify the actions taken by the police, the sheriff's department there, by saying the guy failed to comply. 11 seconds. As the video shows, Brown is attempting to comply with deputies by opening the door to get out and surrender. However, one of the deputies pushed the door closed before they opened fire, essentially trapping him. Again, your heroes, America's heroes, the right-wingers' heroes, and apparently a lot of left-wingers too, but these people are not heroes. They are sociopaths. They are psychopaths. They are fucking serial killers. Among other things. Child molesters, rapists, child killers. And you're going to continue to say with a straight face, America, that these motherfuckers are heroes? They're not heroes. They're scum. That's what they are. And I don't give a shit which one of these motherfuckers you put in front of me. I will have the same contempt for them I do the profession as a whole. They just did him wrong. Robert Sims, Brown's stepfather, who witnessed the shooting, said, "It was a setup. He was unarmed." So, no, this is a continuous thing in America. And it happens on a daily basis. So when you get pulled over by cops, you really should be concerned for your life. You should wonder whether or not you're going to make it out of this traffic stop alive. So, they've proposed a law to require police to submit to drug tests if they beat or shoot someone. They should be taking drug tests just like anyone else out there. If I have to take a drug test to get a fucking shitty factory job or a shitty clerk job, then why shouldn't these assholes have to take a drug test? So anyway, I thought I'd talk to you about this stuff today. I hope everyone had a decent day yesterday, regardless of the fact that the day really doesn't hold any meaning anymore, other than it gets people off work for the day, which is always a good thing, right? Especially if it's a paid day off. Again, I'd like to remind you, I challenge you to put a magnet in your forehead with a headband on for about a half hour, and you repeat it and tell me what happens. I think you'll be surprised. Anyway, one last thing before I go. Lately I've noticed something about myself, and it's I've instinctively been looking up for some reason. It's not conscious. I don't go outside and just look up, consciously. It's almost as if I expect the next big thing to come from the sky. Just saying. Anyway, I hope you all have a great, great day. And until next time, kill the state, live free.